All right, guys, we're about to hear a fire message, or should I say spooky message on how to get 10 recs on average per demo. Would anyone be interested in that? Yeah, this is going to be a trick or treat for you, where you get 10 recs per demo moving forward, average. You're gonna crush it in your career by getting that, because then you get to network, meet a bunch of great people, and have a lot of success here. So, Jaylin, go ahead and take it away.
Man, appreciate the intro. Absolutely. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Oh, can you grant me access, please?
That's pretty spooky, isn't it?
Yeah.
Here you go.
All right, cool. Awesome. Can you guys see my screen? Cool. Bet. All right. So today we're talking about recommendations. One of my favorite things to talk about. And just how you can really build a successful business and average about 10 to 15 or even more recommendations on each presentation. So let's go ahead and dive in. First things first, I want you guys to pull out your calendar, and I want you to put two sessions of 15-minute of memorizing your rec approach. This talk would be, you wouldn't be able to benefit from this talk at all if you don't know your rec approach. So let's go ahead and do that first. So go ahead, go on your calendar, find 2 days, or you can be in the same day, put 15 minutes aside to review your rec approach. And once you're done, text your manager those times, those days and times that you're going to do that, to hold yourself accountable. So I'll give you guys 2 minutes to do that. This right here is money. This is where you get to hopefully get into RECS per appointment. Gotta know your rec approach. Got to. All right. As you guys do that, I'm gonna go ahead and keep it pushing. I would definitely send those 2 times to your manager. This can literally be if you're someone who commutes to school every day, like on the bus or the train or something like that, that'll be a good time to do it. Or just, after one of your classes, or after you finish some presentations, or even after this meeting, after this call, this would be a good time to do that. Just hold yourself accountable and definitely know the rec approach. Memorize that, and when you get to practice it more, you start to personalize it over time. Alrighty, let's move into the next part. Where do the recs start? You know what I'm saying? That's a good question. And basically it starts on the phone. Phoning is really important. Why phoning? Is because that's where you start to build the connection with Mrs. Jones. So ask yourself, what are you doing to prepare for phoning? A lot of us, we pull out our phones, we get ready, we get booked up. That's great. However, do you know, are you ready to really phone? You know what I'm saying? How's your energy? What is your energy like? Some of us have long days, have a lot of classes. We're tired, we're exhausted. I get it. But when you get on the phone, it needs to be the most exciting time for Mrs. Jones, because this sets up the demo, and the demo sets up referrals. So is Ms. Jones actually enjoying your call, right? Is she engaged? Is she paying attention all the time? And also, another great thing is to also pay attention to the time you're calling Mrs. Jones. So if I'm calling Mrs. Jones in the morning, she's probably getting ready for work. She's, driving or something like that. She's about to start her day, right? Mrs. Jones, she's probably not the most motivated because it's another day on the job, right? So be cautious of that, right? You be the highlight of her day. Make her day great by starting off with a good call. Or if it's after work, okay, she just got off of work. Ms. Jones probably exhausted. She got to go home with the kids, go pick up the kids from soccer practice. She's probably exhausted, right? So build her energy up by having a great call with her. Now, the call should always end on a good note. This is really important. And I don't care how bad the call starts off, as long as you end off on a good note, have Ms. Jones laughing and ready to have that presentation with you, Ms. Jones should be super excited when the call ends. As soon as you hit that red button and end the call, Mrs. Jones should be like, man, I can't wait to meet him Saturday. I can't wait to meet him Friday. I'm super excited. That's how the call should always end. This sets up the presentation. All right. Key things to know. Mrs. Jones is attracted to people that are both charismatic and understanding. Be someone that Mrs. Jones wants to tell her friends about. All right. So during the demo, a few places of influence where you can really talk about referrals is the thank you page. I have a thank you page on my virtual presentation because I always want to show my appreciation to my customers for hopping on. So that could be the first place you mention referrals. The second place is the About Me page. So I'm sure all of you have an About Me page or at least heard of it. About Me page is that's money right there because you're talking about yourself and talking about your goals and leading into that. And when you bring up referrals or her friends and things like that, that kind of like sets everything up towards the end. Goals page, of course, when you talk about your goals, hey, Mrs. Jones, I'm trying to reach this amount of referrals by the end of this month or by the end of the semester. That's when you bring that up, kind of get her like like building her up to the referrals, right? Because we want to get as many as we possibly can at the end. Now you want to be mentioning it as many times as possible because she's going to hear you the first time you mention it. She may hear you the second time, but that third, fourth, or fifth time, she's like, all right, okay. He's probably going to ask me for referrals at the very end. So make sure you're doing that. And throughout the presentation, you can always ask about her friends. I always have Mrs. Jones share about herself. So I may be asking about her family. I may be asking about her coworkers or some people who are like really close to her. It's really important. Scholarship page, another good spot to talk about it. So of course, we all know about the scholarship program, things like that. This is another good time to talk about referrals. And after closing is another great time as well. Two things is really important. Write down every person Ms. Jones mentioned. This is like money because when you're asking for referrals at the very end, you can mention those people that she talked about earlier in the beginning of the video, of the presentation, excuse me. Second, be curious about those people all the time. Like if it's, let's say if her brother or her auntie or something like that, that's really good. I ask questions about those people, get to know them a little more. That way, when you actually call to book up the appointment, you already know a few facts about that person. And it just makes the person like you even more because you know something about them. And it makes them more curious to learn more about you as well. And this is going to make them comfortable, kind of butter them up and get ready to provide you referrals at the end of their presentation. So that's also good as well. After the demo, five big takeaways is one, the transition from the demo to recommendations should be as smooth as possible. This should be a smooth transition. It shouldn't be like a business deal or anything like that. After you didn't make the sale, of course, great. Now, when you transition into your actual referrals, asking for referrals, this should be a smooth process. It shouldn't sound like it's scripted or anything like that. And it should never be a surprise. So when I mean it should never be a surprise, if you're talking about referrals throughout your presentation 3, 4, 5 times in the beginning, it shouldn't be a surprise to Mrs. Jones that you're going to ask for referrals. She shouldn't be shocked or surprised or anything like that. She should already know and kind of be prepared to provide you some names. Secondly, Mrs. Jones should already know you're going to ask for, excuse me. Also believe that Mrs. Jones will give you RECS. This is huge. Just like we always say, believe in the product. If you believe in the product, you're most likely going to sell. Same thing with referrals. If you believe that you're going to get referrals, 9 times out of 10, you're going to probably get some referrals, right? That confidence. Asking for recommendations is just like asking Ms. Jones for a favor. It's not asking her to buy Cutco. So have you guys, by raising hand, ever asked a friend or a family member for a favor? Is it ever scripted? No, it's natural. So when you ask for a referral, just be yourself, be confident. It should just be like a regular conversation. Now, fifth thing is that when you go through your recommendation approach, be confident and it should be natural. You shouldn't sound like a robot or anything like that. All right. Next up, just some additional tips. Always tell Ms. Jones to take out her phone and go to her contacts. This is money right here because if you're just ask for referrals right there, then and there. Her phone isn't out. Now she has to think of people off the top of her head. I'll be quite honest, Ms. Jones probably won't think of not one person because she just got done with the presentation. She's probably tired, right? She probably had a great presentation, but Mrs. Jones is just trying to go to the next thing, probably hop off and go take care of her kids. So make sure she have her phone out so she's ready to go, right? Ready to go. Now, when you're actually getting those names and jotting them down, always end with a thank you for sharing blank. Who else? Or who's next? This is money right here because it just keeps the flow going, right? She's scrolling through her contacts, she's putting down names, and you're just thanking her and just saying who's next because she's going to just keep going, keep going, keep going. Also provide thought joggers. Thought joggers are important. If you need some thought joggers, I'll definitely say reach out to your manager. They probably have a bunch listed for you. But thought joggers are huge, man. This is the money. Provide Mrs. Jones with a few different ideas of groups of individuals to jot down. Lastly, smile and have fun. I mean, don't overcomplicate it. It's not like an interview. This is just a time where you and Mrs. Jones have a networking moment and you guys are just connecting. To sum it all up, building recommendations begins on the phone. Always end your phone call on a good note. Mrs. Jones should be laughing when she end the call. When I booked on my presentation, my appointment today, Mrs. Jones was cracking up, man. I'm like, she's ready, she's good to go. She's like, thank you for the call. She's thanking me. I haven't even done the presentation yet. This sets up everything. Know the REC approach like you know your ABCs. It sounds funny, but I'm so serious. Like you really need to learn your REC approach from the start to the finish. This is going to make everything so natural when you say it. Everything shouldn't sound scripted. Be someone that Mrs. Jones wants to tell her friends about, right? Have fun with the presentation, have jokes, be yourself. Most exciting part of the presentation is referrals. It shouldn't be you making a sale. It's really asking for those referrals because some days you may not make a sale, right? It happens. My last two presentations, I didn't make a sale, unfortunately. But hey, the great part is that I had 10, 15 recommendations after because I kept the energy going and I built a great relationship with Mrs. Jones throughout the presentation. Lastly, if Mrs. Jones really wants to help you, objections will be your last problem. Just facts. If she really likes you, she really wants to help you, you really told her about your goals and about referrals, you shouldn't have to worry about any objections. Handle the objections in the beginning by really building up the relationship and having fun on the referrals. All right, that's my talk on referrals, guys.
Woo! Let's give Jaylin some snaps. Woo, 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 woo. Let's get some takeaways. What'd you guys take away? I want to hear from the newbies first, and then the more veteran representatives here. So let's get some virtual hand raises. What do we got going on here? I want to hear some takeaways. What we got? What we got going on? Looking at you, Santana. I'm looking at you, Eric. I'm looking at you, Quendrick. I'm looking at you, Isabella, Elena. What you guys got? Let's get some takeaways. All right, Quendrick's got something. Say it loud so everyone can hear it because the mic's over here. On his, just what did you take away from like his talk on recommendations as far as like what you want to implement into your next presentation?
I like the way he was calling, the way he said to like talk, make it like a friend, make them like a family, something like that. Like just like get in contact with both of them, make it like neutral, like both like each other. Like the presentation, which was nice.
Yeah, create like a family dynamic, which is what Quendrick shared, and just create like this strong relationship with them so that when the demo starts, they're already cool with you. There's no objections. You know, you're not asking them for much. You're just asking for a favor, and you're cool with it. You're not, pulling teeth or anything like that. That's great. What about someone that's a little bit more veteran? Carlito, come over here because I don't want to mute and silence things. What did you take away? It's spooky season over here. Oh my gosh, everyone wants to share now.
Whoa, am I here?
Yeah, you're here.
Yo, hey guys. So my biggest takeaway, it was
See, he was so spooked by my background that it just vanished.
shoot, I forgot my takeaway. Come back to me.
All right,
Hey, my train of thought.
Evan, Dominic, go rapid fire. Let's do it.
All right, my takeaway was that Jaylin, you mentioned the transition from demo to recommendations to be like seamless, very smooth. I like to think of it as that the rec approach is part, or the recommendations is part of the presentation. So you say, oh, like there's one more very important part. Not like this is a totally different part to Miss Jones. I know you didn't mention anything like that, Jaylin, like but it's something I wanted to share with you all. That there should that transition should be seamless because it's the same part.
Should be seamless. It's great. Make it one. Web them together. Love it, Evan. Dominic, what about you?
What I really took away was the part about having a good intro to Mrs. Jones, even just starting with the phone call. And I think that even starts with her recommendation. When you get her recommended, you need to make sure that you're getting that text sent out. I feel like a lot of the times I got myself off to a bad start because those first few months I wasn't getting it sent out. And now people feel like all of their friends are going to get called like this, and it just isn't very good energy. You want to start it off great from the start.
So it starts with the recs of that rec that you call. You want to know who they are. You want to get to know them. It all starts, and each demo is like a domino to the other demo. So just, you got to make sure that you do that the right way. Carlos, you ready? Cool. Then you guys can put your hands down. That'd be great. And Carlos, you got it this time?
Yeah, I do.
Did you forget yet?
No, I wrote it down.
Kidding.
Great. So the biggest thing I took away, Jaylin, and honestly, it kind of clicked in my head. So it was the objections are the last part, or objections should be like the least of your worries of the presentation if you connected with her. I feel like when I was going into demos, I was when I first started, I would be like, what if she doesn't like me? She's not going to recommend me to anyone. If you connect with Mrs. Jones, if she likes you, you have fun. You don't have to worry about objections, because why would she? So it made sense in my head. You made it click. And also I love how you mentioned end on a good note. When I think I had a few calls where I dropped the energy a little bit, and that affected me towards the presentation because I didn't keep her at the peak level. Ending the call and going to the demo. If I keep her at peak state when we end the call, she's gonna be at the peak state when we start the demo. So that's what I took away. Also, the sections that you shared, like the places of influence, I didn't think about it that way. But when you shared it, I wrote them down so I can know where to focus that influence a little more. So thank you.
Awesome. Great takeaways. Nice job, guys. So powerful message, Jaylin. Thanks for delivering. I love seeing you give messages, guys. Jaylin is going to be a motivational speaker on a stage near you in the next couple of years. So he's just building up that skill set over and over and over again, getting better and better every time. So let's give Jaylin overall some snaps. Nice job. Thanks for crushing it. Thanks for preparing and delivering today. Let's stop that recording. Boop.